watching news at Prime. Let's get into another important conversation. Ekurhuleni Mayor Nkosindiphile Xhakaza has described the torching of the Home Affairs office in Germiston as barbaric. It's believed that people evicted from Pharoe Park flats due to unpaid rent are behind the fire. 2 people have been arrested and they're set to face arson charges. Let's speak now to Mayor Xhakaza, who joins me tonight. Mayor, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. Earlier reports from colleagues who are on the ground suggesting that police are going to remain in and around the CBD of Germiston because they are worried there could be further torching of government buildings there. How would you describe the situation tonight?
Well, I mean, we have to ensure that the municipal properties in and around the area, as you know, that forms part of the government precinct, is protected. There is a court down the road. There is a civic center down the road. There is civic hall where other services are being accessed. There is, of course, the police station. There is the theater, around the corner. So there is quite a number of properties that needs to be protected. But what we are happy with is the firmness of the law enforcement officer. That they can't surrender, to lawlessness, and I think that's what our communities want. They want us to reclaim the CBDs. They want us to bring law and order, and we are encouraged by the stance that the Ekurhuleni Housing Company they've taken to go through and secure a court order, so that all the evictions carried by sheriff are properly supported by law enforcement officers. This is just the beginning to ensure that we put law and order in Germiston. We clean the hijacking of. Because it's not just about renter, it's about people who have occupied the municipal-owned properties, which are low-cost, rentals. They occupy them, and over time they organize themselves, they sublease them, and then all sorts of things that are actually happening there. Yeah. So it's about this cleanup. This is the first step we'll be going through, including on some of the privately owned buildings, which some of the private owners, they've abandoned them because of this organized occupation and taking over, some of the rent and funding even some of the violence activities that are happening. Yeah. In some of these. Yeah.
We'll talk about the evictions in a moment, Mr. Mayor. I just want to focus the attention for a moment on the torching of government property. Are you able to make a positive link between the evictions and people possibly torching a government building? Do you have evidence to that effect tonight?
Well, that is for the law enforcement officers to do. What is important is that we must not be found to be wanting in terms of the instigators and the possible suspects. Of course, there's CCTV cameras there. There's people who've been pushing, the back through using violence, stone throwing, including petrol bomb. And this is what we generally come across at different areas where we want to enforce law and order. In the corridors of Germiston, different operations, we've been carrying them out, including just people who are stealing or doing illegal, illegal connections and all that. Often were met with a fight back, from communities. So law enforcement, I'm sure, they are doing their part. Yeah. And where we're sitting, we don't want to be sending out contradictory messages, because we have an operation that we must carry out, and this operation we will see it through that it is actually done to the latter.
Here's the sentiment then. Let's talk about the evictions. The sentiment from the people that were evicted is that we have been paying our rent to the landlord. We did not know that the landlord is not paying the municipality or the city. How do you respond to that? And where are these people being housed as we speak?
I'm sure you yourself, Oli, you would not believe that that people in a CBD of Germiston in Gauteng, in this today and age, they pay to people that that they can't, account, that they do not know. And these are the stories that we get. They know where the offices of the Ekurhuleni Housing Company is. They know who, the leadership. Regular meetings are held, to enforce, to get the communities to be compliant. All the city officials, when they go there, the housing company, they are often met with pushback, which is often violent, and all that. Lots of elements of criminality that is happening here, conducted by foreign nationals who are driving these things in cahoots with some of our organized group. They call it a PED forum. Organized, they collect the money, they even use intimidations, to some of the tenants who do not want to, pay to this bogus, people. Even when they want to comply with law enforcement to point at those that are responsible for this thing, there's general intimidation. And that is why the housing company had to secure the court order. And we've been very firm as a leadership to communicate this message. To say we need to get all the legally occupied municipal properties, municipal buildings into proper order. And then once we get some order, we should be able to send a clear signal that the investors, those who own properties in Germiston, that together we can actually reclaim back our CBTs.
All right. I want us to just take a listen to the people themselves. Before we continue this conversation, let's take a listen now to what some of the residents were saying.
No, we are not aware of hijackers because most of us have legal leases. We've got lease agreements. Like staying here for 27 years, you wouldn't stay in such places without lease agreements. So we do have, and we do qualify to stay here.
That's why I said all he is saying is a liar. We don't know anything about what he was saying. And Mayor, we never had a meeting with Mayor. I don't know where did he get this information, because when we ask the meeting with him, he's always busy. As I'm evicted, as you see now, my sister, I'm gonna go back to my unit. I will die for my unit with my kids because Xhakaza doesn't give me any alternative accommodation.
Mr. Mayor, there is the direct sentiment from the people. You are not visible when they want to talk to you, but also key to what they are asking is they are not aware of hijackers. So who are the kingpins?
Well, they'll have to tell you where are they, paying their renters for services, for water, the rentals. Who are they paying? These are some of the theatrics that we deal with all the time. We've been in constant communication with some of these communities, in particular those that are South Africans. But my worry is that some of the ones that are interviewed here, they're actually the ones who are in cahoots, if I can use this word, in cahoots, because they use communities to mobilize. They are the ones who facilitate, the process of collections and all that. Where we are now, we've collected, secured a court order. The entity have done that, and we want to restore law and order. If someone wants to come back to the unit, they know what to do. They must present themselves. We've ran this campaign as if there's a campaign where we've been giving amnesty to those who've been doing wrong things and all that. And we've not been getting firm cooperation. And we have to firm up our stance and ensure that we bring about legalities in some of the municipal-owned units.
That's a very that is a very, very interesting language that you use, Mayor, because half the time, government officials like yourself, as you say, you will have people burn property, government property, whether it be schools or, in this instance, a government office, a Home Affairs building, but you never really see the consequences. You've just used the word amnesty. What should the consequences be? How severe should the punishment be, particularly against those who are found guilty of this act of arson? 2 people are arrested. The understanding is that law enforcement is looking for more.
Yeah, that is for justice to handle. When you set a building alight using a petrol bomb in this day and age of democracy, where people are allowed to protest, they're allowed to, in whatever form, including, try to resist, some of the evictions. But if the evictions are conducted in a legal way, there's a court order secured, there's been communications and all that, and I'm sure not anywhere. You can go to any rental stock and so forth. If you don't pay for what is due, if you don't comply with the conditions of the space and all that, you have to vacate the space. It should not be that, communities, and I'm saying it is not just because this one is owned by the city or an entity that belongs to the city. There are various other properties down the road where we try to move into because the conditions are not conducive for the people to stay there, but we are often met with a pushback. And I'm saying by law, we are expected to enforce law and order. And if we are wrong, of course, our communities, they always, punish us for wrong things. They know we go to elections, they withdraw their vote. Often we don't do what we're supposed to do because we fear that. And I think, our communities, their call has been loud and clear. We can't let our CBDs to be, a place for lawlessness, where people just move in, take over a block of flats, sublease them, have other arrangements, and all that, chase away authorized officials who must come and actually, either collect rents or just ensure that the upkeep of those spaces are properly maintained. When some of these units catches fire and all that, as government, we're expected to answer. Please provide an answer. Where were you? Why you did not, enforce the corrective measures? And that's what the city is doing. That's what we're committed to do, not only for our own properties, but we want the private sector to come back and reinvest in Germiston. We want those buildings that have been hijacked, those that are not even owned by us. We want to assist the private owners of those buildings. We want to assist those who want to invest in them to actually create a conducive environment. Up the road from Germiston, there's Ekurhuleni West TVET College, very big college that produces artisans to support our manufacturing industry and so forth. They want, rent a student accommodation, but almost all the properties are occupied by wrong people. So we've got the responsibility to clean up that space and ensure that we bring about a conducive environment for our people to live.
Well, I can't let you go after making such an important admission, and that is that because you're scared to lose votes, you've sometimes not taken the action that has been needed to be taken. What has given you this newfound confidence for you to do the right thing?
Well, there's a renewal agenda on the table. Our leadership, they've emphasized that the renewed leadership, the message must be consistent. We must be on the side of our people. And our people, they've said it. We see you running away from CBDs. We see you running away from enforcing what is right, enforcing bylaw enforcement. It's a thing of the past. And we try our level best, and often we're met with a pushback. People, they organize themselves in the manner in which they organize them. In particular, where there is element of violence, some of the calculated hijacking, you can see, South Africans really, they don't master this art of hijacking spaces and buildings. Often they're backed by some foreign, a national act of some sort, because these guys, how they do this thing is a sophisticated thing. And the leadership must put the right message so that even law enforcement, they can actually have courage to work and ensure that we reclaim some of the spaces. And I think beyond anything else, Kolani, we don't want to, of course, talk about elections, because we're not motivated by that. But what is before us is that I am the mayor for the city of Ekurhuleni. It's been now a year and a couple of months, and wherever I go, the communities are asking, we see what you do, but bylaw enforcement. Don't let illegal activities to actually happen.
All right.
Push back and even arrest, some of these perpetrators. So they do fight back, but we're not going to give up the fight. We'll identify the ringleaders, and we've instructed, our policing to actually act and ensure that they effect more arrest.
Nkosindiphile Xhakaza, thank you very much for your time.